Hey y'all, welcome back to Life Unscripted. So today's video is going to be all about DCF and what I'm going through with them. So if you are a grandparent and you are any family member really of a child and you're considering letting them stay with you until DCF can get something else figured out, you're going to want to listen to this because my husband and I have been through this before. We do have a 3-year-old grandson who is currently with my niece. When we agreed to bring him home from the hospital, we did so thinking and even stating to the investigator from the DCF investigator that was at the hospital, we will do this on a short-term basis, but we don't want to do it, long-term. And we knew that we wouldn't be able to give him the kind of life that he deserves. We're in our late 50s, and we work full-time jobs, and we don't get home till 6. And when we do get home, or if we, have some time off after work, we don't really want to do a whole lot. And time off, we want to go do what we want to go do. I mean, we're already being forced to work until, I don't know, I think you can retire at 65 now, but if you want full retirement with the Medicare and all that, it's 72, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But, we're going to be working for a really long time, and we at least 8 more years, and it just wouldn't be fair to them. We have a small house that doesn't have a big backyard, so we were trying to consider what would be best for. At that time, it was Jace. It was just the one grandson, and so my niece spoke up, and she wanted to become their foster parent. And then when we realized that the bio mom was not going to step up and be a mom, now my niece wants to adopt. It took 1.5 years to get our first grandson to my niece. Now granted, it was an out-of-state thing, but it still should not have taken 1.5 years. So 3 years later, bio mom is pregnant again and has another baby. She had him in December. And of course, DCF calls us from the hospital, and at the time, the bio mom had been arrested, so she was in custody. She got arrested on December the 9th, and she had the baby on the 12th, so they carried her to the hospital, and once she was able to be discharged, she was going back to jail. And the baby was positive for methamphetamines, and so was mom. So the baby was going to go to NICU for a few days, just, for observation. Well, the DCF caseworker didn't really do her due diligence and look into the case, and assumed that mom was just arrested for something minor, and she was going to be, once she got out of jail, she would just come to our house and get the baby. And I kept telling her, you need to look at the case. The baby tested positive for drugs. And I guess she didn't believe me. So after a few weeks, I said, listen, what is your email? I'm fixing to send you the discharge paperwork from the hospital. So I sent it to her. Well, then, because at the time we weren't, I don't know, it wasn't an emergency safe shelter. I'm not sure what it was. But they called it something. We weren't foster parents. We were family shelter, I guess is what it was. But there was no safety plan in place for the baby for when mom got out of jail. So once they did that, they did it actually the same day she got out of jail. So the baby was protected, because otherwise she would be able to come and just take the baby and leave. And we kept telling her, you've got to read the case. There's a big history here. So anyway, she did all that. And then, with it, because she, they finally did their due diligence and familiarize themselves with the case, they were going to expedite this grandson going to my niece as well. And so they're expediting TPR and all of that stuff. Well, the new caseworker, who says she's a supervisor, did not know what was needed for an ICPC. Now, I don't know what that stands for, but what it means is if you've got a child that is going out of state, like to another family member out of state, there's a process that is involved with that, and it takes a little bit. Actually, this process should have been started from the jump. The baby should have been safe sheltered before he ever left the hospital. He was not. The ICPC process should have been started, as we told them, a very short term. We're not going to continue to do this long term. And it's almost, so I say all of that to say this. Understand that when DCF sees that a child is in a safe and loving environment with a family member, they're not going to get in a hurry in your case. They have other cases where, and I know it's true, where kids are actually in danger and they've got to put their focus somewhere else, but you get put on the back burner. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is if you're going to go into it and you're going to do it and you're going to be family safe shelter for grandkids or nieces or nephews, family members, understand that it's not going to be short term. It just is not. The second grandson is almost 4 months old. He'll be 4 months old April the 12th. And, or no, is it 5 months old? No, he'll be 4 months old. 4 months old in April. April the 12th. And I'm not good at quick mental math there, guys. And we're still dealing with this. Florida finally got all of their stuff together. I will tell you, the first time that this caseworker filed the ICPC paperwork, she did not know what was needed to go with it. Excuse me. She called us and said that it got kicked back, and when I asked her why it got kicked back, she said there were errors. I said, what errors? And it was things like the address, and she didn't specify if it was my niece's address or mine, a phone number, whatever, that's just incompetence, because she already had all of that information. And not only that, but you're calling me on the dang phone. You've called my niece, so I know you have the correct phone numbers. So I don't know if that was a lie to cover up the fact that she had not actually sent the ICPC. But either way, then she called about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after that, and said that she needed a copy of Elijah's birth certificate, his social security number. She needed visit summaries from Elijah's doctor visits, and all of that. So 2 weeks later, I'm still gathering information for her to get this ICPC sent to the state of Florida to approve and send it on to Alabama. So we got all of that done. And now Alabama is the holdup. So I feel like I'm being held hostage, or like my life is being controlled by DCF in Florida, DCF in Alabama. I can't freaking retire till I'm 72, and that's a whole nother rant on the government and where our money's going and things like that. So I won't get into that. That's going down a rabbit hole. But it just seems like every aspect of my life is out of my control, and it's getting kind of frustrating. And I haven't been in a good mindset in the last few days, because I'm tired of the BS. I'm tired of the stupid, and I just, I want to unplug sometimes. I just want to pack a suitcase, get in my car, and drive. And then wherever I end up, spend 2, 3, 4 weeks there, just trying to regroup, and get my mind back, mentally. So just keep that in mind. Right now, the holdup is apparently Alabama only certified my niece for one child. However, they did contact her to take another child before the second grandson was born. So if she's only licensed to one child, like they're saying, then why would they call her to take another one? But anyway, and they wanted to bring her the baby that night. And so she politely told them no. She has, her and my brother and my sister-in-law all have to be fingerprinted. Now, they just did this 3 years ago. And as a nurse here in the state of Florida, your level 2 background fingerprints are good for 5 years. So there's that. So maybe Alabama is different and it's only good for 3 years there. I don't know. They all have to go get physicals. And again, it's like, in another home study. Nothing has changed significantly enough in the last 3 months to warrant all of this. And it's, they still live in the same house. Everything is still the same. The special locks, the high locks on the door now that Jace is walking. All of the medications, the cleaning, the cleaning supplies, the chemicals, all that stuff is all under lock and key for the first grandchild. But yet they need another home inspection. So Alabama just sent my niece the paperwork for a foster care license for more than one child. Just got it to her yesterday. We're almost into April. So she went ahead, she got that filled out yesterday. She went and picked up the first grandson's dental records and his summaries, his doctor visit summaries. I'm sending her the ones for the second grandbaby, the physician. He hasn't been to the dentist yet, but all of his shot records, his, the immunization records, summaries of his doctor visits while he's been here. I'm going to go ahead and give her all that. So the only thing that they have to do now is to do their physicals and get their fingerprints redone. And that has to be scheduled. BioMom is not, and I'll tell you something else. Let me tell you this other incident with DCF and their incompetence. So the BioMom is not telling anyone who the actual bio father is for the second grandson. So Elijah is biracial. He's 50% black. He's quarter white, quarter Puerto Rican, because that, my stepdaughter is Puerto Rican and white. And so she's trying to say that a white man is this baby's daddy. And this man is as white as the skin on my butt cheeks, y'all. He is white. And there's no way that he's the biological father, but she thought that she could manipulate him and the system for him to go and get the baby. And then she could just stop by, and see him whenever she wanted, and, be a mom on Christmas, and, whatever, and still go and use her drugs and all that jazz. So that was her angle on it. But now, because she named him as the dad, now there has to be this whole thing with the court. There has to be a paternity test to 100% verify, which I think is absolutely stupid. You can look at the child and look at the mom and look at the dad and know that that white boy is not this baby's daddy. But still had to have a DNA test. So they scheduled the DNA test. I took the day off of work. I took the baby to the lab. Our appointment was at 10 o'clock. We didn't get called back till 11. Okay, we waited for an hour. And this is LabCorp. Waited for an hour. And then we got back there, and it was a big crap show from the jump. Number one, having to wait. But then secondly, She needed to get a picture of the baby, so she took like a Polaroid or whatever, and she went to write his name on it, and she, instead of a J, she put a G, and she says, oh, yeah, I've got to redo the photo. And I said, why? She goes, because I put a G instead of a J. And I said, can you just like write over the top of it? It'll be fine. And she goes, no, there cannot be any errors. And she wasn't being quick about it. Okay. So she left the room. She came back. She took another picture. She put his name on it, spelled it correctly. And then she needed, I guess, a thumbprint. This is a 3-month-old baby, okay? So she's trying to get his thumbprint, and she smears it. And she goes, oh gosh, I smeared it. I gotta redo it. So she leaves the room again. She comes back with another fingerprint card. She lays it on the counter, and she's just kind of standing there looking. And I said, is there something wrong? She goes, can you verify his date of birth for me? And I told her, she goes, we're not going to be able to do this today because they got the year of his birth wrong. And I said, what year do they have? And she goes, 2014. Y'all, 2014. Incompetence and untimeliness cost family members everything when they're trying to step up and do the right thing, because somebody wants to make the choice of using drugs, not using protection when having sex, and popping out babies that they don't want. And we're the ones that pay the price. And I think that's where my frustration is. And, I know that there are grandparents out there who do raise their grandkids, and they don't have any help. But I have said from the jump, I am not going to do it because it will not be fair to these kids. They need to be outdoors. I do not want my grandsons growing up in front of the TV or a computer or video games because our health isn't good or we just don't feel like doing something. My niece, my 3-year-old, never sits still. He's either outside playing, he's in his playroom down in the basement playing, they're out at a farm, they're out at the hunting camp playing in the creek, they are going camping, they're fishing, they're always doing something with him. So he's not growing up in front of the TV or computer or video games, and it's wonderful to see. She just enrolled him in Wee-ball, or some people call it T-ball. They're calling it Wee-ball. And he has his first game next weekend. So he goes to practice 2 days a week. She's keeping him busy. And that is what I want for my grandkids. And I know that I can't provide that for them, so I'm not going to be selfish and keep them to myself. But at the same time, we're trying to help in the best way that we can by saying, yes, we'll take the baby when the hospital calls so that he doesn't go to a strange family. And then when we do that, we're held hostage by 2 different states and 2 different DCF entities. And it's frustrating because my stepdaughter will not accept help. She will not go get help. She's a drug addict. That's all she wants to do. She has stated from the time she was 12 years old that she was going to be the biggest, baddest bitch that she could possibly be. And I know she has abandonment issues because her mom left her when she was 8. And there's a whole story behind that. However, there are other children whose parents are divorced and they don't spend the rest of their lives shoplifting, going to jail, going to court, constantly violating probation, constantly getting high, and abandon children that they make and then want to pretend like they love them. And, oh, I can't listen to them in the background. I gotta go. If she cared about her kids, she would be participating in visitation. We had Jace for 1.5 years and he does not remember her. She may have seen him 6 times. This new baby she has not seen since she popped him out. And we only hear from her when she's in jail. Oh, can you send me pictures of the boys, please, please, please? And then when we have them with us and she calls and she hears them in the background, she wants to cry these crocodile tears like, you know, like, oh, poor pitiful me. These kids don't even know her. And DCF is dragging their feet. And it's just frustrating. So that was when I told you in the other video that I would do a rant video about DCF. That's why. I'm not dissing anybody that decides to raise their grandkids. More power to you. I envy you, because I know that I cannot do it. I can't do it mentally, I can't do it financially, and I can't do it physically. So, you know, you can hate on me if you want, but I have to put the best interest of the kids first. And their best interest is to be with family, yes, but to also be with somebody who is going to give them the kind of childhood that they need. I am so glad that I was not raised by grandparents, because God bless y'all, you do the best you can, and maybe you are very active. My grandparents were not active people, and had I been raised by them, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, you know. Now, granted, I was raised by my parents, but I'm just saying, some grandparents just don't have it in them, and if you do, God bless you. I guess that's all I gotta say. But, you know, if you're a grandparent out there and you're thinking about doing it, just know, if you're considering doing it on a temporary basis, it's not going to be a short-term basis. So just accept that going into it, and know that DCF is not the most competent or the most timely at their jobs. And the turnover is ridiculous. We have had 7 caseworkers in 3 years. 7. So anyway, guys, that's it. Let me know down below if you guys want me to talk about some of the news stories out there. If you see something on TikTok or a story that you want me to dig into and cover, let me know. Please like the video and subscribe, even if you don't ever come back. It's just a free way to help out my channel. I'm just getting started. This channel is less than a year old, so I know I've got some years to go yet to get this channel off the ground. But when I see new subscribers and I see your comments, it's very encouraging. And I'm not sure exactly yet where the direction this channel is going to go, what kind of topics, and that's why it's called Life Unscripted. It's currently just been, as a woman in her mid-50s, it's just been about life as a woman in your mid-50s, some of the struggles that we go through, and this just happens to be one of them. You know, I'm not the only one whose kid doesn't want to be a parent and they're messing up, and you know, other people that are out there go through the same thing. And I want to be an encouraging community to people out there who think that they are going through something all alone, and you're not. And I will cover, you know, trending topics, news topics, current events, things like that. But if there's anything in particular that you want me to cover, let me know down below. I haven't figured out how to like add news clips and all that, because as you've possibly seen, this is my recording studio on my lunch break. I don't have equipment and a big desktop computer with multiple screens to use. I think it's called Riverside or some other kind of streaming source where you can put in video clips and stuff. I don't know how to do all that, and I might eventually. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, I hope everybody's having a great day. I know the world's crazy right now, but we're here for each other, and that's what I want this channel to be about. So I hope you're encouraged today, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.